And first up, let's tell you about the heavy rains that have lashed Delhi and NCR yesterday as well as through the night. We've woken up here in Delhi to another cloudy morning. The Met Department issuing an orange alert in Delhi, Noida and Gurugram. The heavy rains in these regions has brought down temperatures, of course provided much needed relief from the summer heat. The heavy rains which started yesterday morning has also triggered, however, waterlogging in low-lying areas of Delhi and across NCR. These rains took place after Cyclone Tauktae moved northwards. The Met Department had already issued an orange alert and predicted thunderstorms with rain for the next 24 hours. Cyclone Tauktae has impacted weather conditions in several parts of North India. Rainfall has also been reported in parts of Haryana, Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan. Let's take this across to Anisha Mathur. She's joining us live from Delhi. Anisha, good morning. Another cloudy day in the national capital. The forecast is for more rain, and while it's been a great respite from the heat, it's also led to a lot of waterlogging, a lot of inconvenience, we understand.
Well, yes, Akshita, last night particularly after heavy rains, a lot of Delhi saw waterlogging as well as traffic jams, even though most of the city is under a lockdown. Traffic jams happened in several areas where water was collected, and right now we're at Ashram, and I'm going to ask my camera person to show you. This is the Ashram Chowk near Naped and Chayad, and where water is still significantly stagnating, even though there has been no rain since this morning. There's been very intermittent drizzle, and you can see around us dark clouds still in the sky. At Pragati Maidan, at Horse Rani, at Khanpur, several other low-lying areas in Delhi, there has been significant waterlogging. We are getting images and reports from across the national capital region. And as you just said, the IMD has predicted more rain with the cyclone Tauktae, as well as cyclonic system developing in the Bay of Bengal and western disturbances, the winds coming in from the northwest also adding to the mix. Delhi and most of North India, including Uttarakhand, UP, Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan, are expected to get more rain in the next 24 hours. Back to you.
The Met Department, Anisha, there will be more rains today. It's going to be another very cloudy day. However, it won't be as heavy as what we saw last night when there was torrential rains being reported in many parts of Delhi NCR. Anisha, thank you for joining us with those details of what the situation currently is in the national capital. Black fungus cases are on the rise in patients suffering from coronavirus. States are recording a big rise in black fungus cases, and Maharashtra has sent out an SOS to the centre. Rajasthan has gone ahead and declared this as an epidemic. It's a rare but a very, very serious fungal infection.
The second wave has brought with it an even more dangerous side to coronavirus. There's another infection that's on the prowl across the country, one that is even more deadly and spreading fast. Mucormycosis, or the black fungus infection, is rising dangerously among COVID patients. On Wednesday, the Maharashtra government confirmed 90 deaths due to the black fungus. It said there were at least 1,500 more cases in hospitals.
एम्फोटेरेसिन बी ये इंजेक्शंस पूरा परचेज करके महात्मा ज्योतिराव फुले जन आरोग्य योजना के हॉस्पिटल्स को दिया जाएगा और गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल्स को भी दिया जाएगा। तो इसीलिए म्यूकरमाइकोसिस के मरीजों पे उनकी जेब से खर्चा न हो, यही व्यवस्था हमने प्रॉपरली की है।
In Delhi, more than 80 cases have been confirmed by hospitals so far.
Two parallels. One is COVID positive mucormycosis and COVID negative mucormycosis, and they are being accommodated. And I must tell you that every single day in the emergency, they are, it's like an average 20 and above, and they're multiplying.
In Lucknow, there were more than 50 cases in a single hospital. In Uttarakhand, over 40 cases. Rajasthan even has declared the black fungus an epidemic in the state. The Union Health Ministry is now on overdrive to spread awareness among the black fungus.
ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने देश के उन डॉक्टरों से जो कि लिमिट जो कि इंटीरियर एरियाज में, रूरल एरियाज में और 2 टियर और 3 टियर टाउन्स में काम कर रहे हैं, बोथ कोविड और नॉन कोविड सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं, उनसे भी इंटरेक्शन किया। उनसे रिक्वेस्ट भी की है कि म्यूकरमाइकोसिस जो कि एक नई समस्या के रूप में उभर कर आ रहा है, उसके बारे में अवेयरनेस स्प्रेड करें, पर्टिकुलरली 2 टियर एंड 2-3 टियर टाउन्स में भी।
Health experts have said that the fungus develops as a consequence of steroids that reduce immunity and increase blood sugar levels in critical coronavirus cases. It hits chronic diabetics the most. With Milan Sharma in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, there are a lot of questions about comorbidities, and what's clear is that being comorbid doesn't make one more susceptible to the virus that causes COVID-19. But increasingly, you've got comorbid patients who are falling ill to a vicious cycle of disease given the complications arising out of conditions like diabetes and heart disease. Here's a report on what comorbid patients should do to ensure that they protect themselves.
They could be young, but their comorbidity is costing them their life. Medical experts are seeing a trend in those having comorbidities getting entrapped in a vicious cycle of disease that is leading to death. Often, the victims are in their prime.
People with diabetes, obesity, heart disease and kidney disease, etc. are not at increased risk of getting COVID infection. The risk is about the same as everyone else. The difference is that they have a reduced reserve capacity and poorer metabolism leading to reduced immunity. Once the virus gets in, they are not able to mount a quick or strong enough immune response to reduce the virus and prevent it from replicating, so they have a more severe infection. Additionally, as the phase of inflammation starts, usually in the second week, these patients have very poor reserve and are not able to sustain such a strong inflammation, and the heart or kidneys can give up.
From diabetes to heart disease to patients landing up with black fungus and multi-organ failure, the complications are many. The government, realizing the huge burden of diabetes in India, the diabetes capital of the world, has now issued an advisory. But being diabetic itself invites a host of problems. Wrong use of steroids leading to black fungus, prolonged use of antifungal medicines leading to kidney ailments.
Patients who have in the background diabetes, blood pressure or heart disease, or who are obese, they are at a higher risk of contracting the disease and have a more fatal course. A lot of these patients, whether they are young or old, if they have diabetes or obesity in the background, have a more turbulent course. They land up on ventilator and generally have a poorer outcome.
But with over 77 million Indians diabetic, the burden is staggering. The risk of secondary infections are high in patients suffering from COVID-19 or even after recovering from COVID-19. Doctors say sugar levels need to be kept in check. If there is hypertension along with diabetes, one has to keep their weight in check.
They must follow the usual precautions of masking whenever outside their home, avoiding any crowded places, maintaining distance of at least 6 feet from anyone else, and using proper hand hygiene. In addition, it is important they monitor their own illness as well. Keep the sugars and BP under control. Make sure the lab tests and doctor consults are done on time. For most chronic problems, doctor consults can be done online. Also, as soon as any symptoms of possible COVID infection develop, they must immediately seek medical advice.
Amidst growing concerns of deadly repercussions for those having comorbidities as far as COVID-19 is concerned, there is an opinion and a sense that these people should be getting the jab first. The initial plan of the Government of India had streamlined the process in such a way that those with comorbidities were getting the jab first. But since vaccination opened up for everyone above the age of 18, many such people are getting left out, and there is a concern that they continue to be vulnerable. In New Delhi, Sneha Mordani for India Today.
Meanwhile, there's a lot of politics also playing out in India amid the pandemic. The AAP government versus the centre war rages on. This time over Arvind Kejriwal and his remark that a Singapore variant may affect kids in the third wave. This comes after the Singapore Health Minister gave a stinging reply to Kejriwal, saying that politicians should stick to facts and that there is no Singapore variant.
Be able to do a little bit of that, but I think it is.
This tweet by Arvind Kejriwal referring to a Singapore strain has now snowballed into a massive controversy. Kejriwal, intentionally or unintentionally, has triggered a diplomatic showdown after the Singapore government took serious offence to his tweet. The Delhi Chief Minister was referring to a mutant strain reported in Singapore which affects kids more. But the Singapore government has hit back, saying that this strain hasn't originated in their country. The Singapore government's angry reaction prompted damage control by the Ministry of External Affairs, with Minister Jaishankar setting the record straight that Kejriwal's tweet doesn't reflect India's stand and reiterated that the government believes there is no Singapore strain of coronavirus. BJP also lashed out at Arvind Kejriwal over his faux pas.
Mr. Kejriwal has once again embarrassed himself, and he has been severely rebuked by many Singaporean leaders for making such baseless comments. Now, during a pandemic, one should be focused on doing work instead of spreading disinformation like this.
The Aam Aadmi Party is, however, defiant, saying that they only care about India's children, while Centre only cares about its image and optics.
मुद्दा सिंगापुर नहीं है, मुद्दा हमारे बच्चे हैं। आप सिंगापुर को मुद्दा बनाना चाहते हैं, हम बच्चों की चिंता कर रहे हैं। आप सिंगापुर पे राजनीति करना चाहते हैं, हम चाहते हैं हाथ जोड़ के हमारे बच्चों को बचाइए। अगर चारों तरफ से ये बात सुनने को मिल रही है कि अगले स्ट्रेन में, अगली वेव में हमारे बच्चों को खतरा है, तो आप उसकी चिंता करिए ना, उस पे अलर्ट रहिए ना, उस पे तत्परता दिखाइए ना।
The political fight rages on even as the central government firefights the diplomatic ramifications of Arvind Kejriwal's tweet.
I think it is a cost which we are willing to pay.
With Geeta Mohan in New Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
Let's also get you all the latest on the row over an alleged Congress toolkit. After the Grand Old Party dismissed it as being fake and filed a complaint with the police, the BJP countered them with proof of this alleged toolkit author. Here's the latest.
Social media volunteers can call it Modi strain. This is an opportunity to destroy his image and erode his popularity.
A toolkit is back in the news once again. This time, the BJP claims a Congress pandemic toolkit is attempting to tarnish India's image. BJP has alleged that the Congress put out a toolkit for its workers with a single point agenda, that of defaming Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
टूलकिट के माध्यम से एडवाइस दिया जा रहा है कार्यकर्ताओं को कि क्या करना है, खास करके सोशल मीडिया के कार्यकर्ताओं कि सोशल मीडिया में क्या डालना है। प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदीज इमेज को लेकर एक कॉलम बना है और उसमें क्या लिखा है? द अप्रूवल रेटिंग्स ऑफ द प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी हैज बीन हाई and have not dipped despite crisis and mismanagement. This is an opportunity to destroy his image and erode his popularity.
The BJP highlighted this alleged toolkit, which mentions that the mutant strain should be referred to as the Indian strain or the Modi strain. It also makes a mention of using images of bodies and funerals with the help of foreign media.
Use the phrase Indian strain wherever talking about the new mutant. Social media volunteers can call it Modi strain. जो निर्णय WHO में भी हुआ है उसके विपरीत जाते ये कह रही है कि आप उसको इंडियन स्ट्रेन बुलाइए और तो और उसे मोदी स्ट्रेन बुलाइए.
The Congress, however, outrightly dismissed this toolkit that the BJP has now made public.
Congress's Rajiv Gowda threatened legal action and filed a complaint against the BJP. The BJP, though, is defiant. They have now named this woman you see on your screens as the author of the alleged toolkit.
ऑथर कौन है? सौम्या वर्मा नामक एक महिला है जिसका नाम डोमेन एक्सपर्ट ने खोज करके निकाला है। सौम्या वर्मा जो है वो ऑफिस ऑफ प्रोफेसर एम.वी. राजीव गौड़ा, मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट, उनसे वो कनेक्टेड है। अर्थात जो AICC रिसर्च विंग है जिसको कि हेड प्रोफेसर गौड़ा करते हैं, उनके रिसर्च विंग के साथ वो कनेक्टेड है। आज आप खुद देख सकते हैं, प्रत्यक्षम किम प्रमाणम, मोविड पैंडेमिक, अर्थात पूरे विश्व जिसको कोविड के नाम से जानता है, कहीं ना कहीं एक बिल्कुल कंसर्टेड एफर्ट है कांग्रेस पार्टी का इसमें प्रधानमंत्री जी के नाम और भारत के नाम को घसीटने का।
ये मोदी जी का क्लासिकल कॉन्स्पिरेटोरियल ध्यान बटाने का एजेंडा है। कल कोरोना पे डिबेट नहीं हुई, एक फर्जी कागज जो बीजेपी ने बनाया था उस पे डिबेट हुई। अब वो चाह रहे हैं आज फिर ये हो जाए। जीवन रक्षक दवाएं कहाँ हैं, वेंटिलेटर और ICU बेड कहाँ है? पर ये कह रहे हैं हम तो फर्जी टूल किट के अंदर पूरे देश को उलझाकर रखना चाहते हैं। देश बेवकूफ नहीं है, देश समझदार है।
Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, in the United States, after 1.5 years of disruption due to COVID, American colleges are ready to return to normalcy. But there is a catch. Many colleges have declared that only vaccinated individuals will be allowed to enroll. India Today has learnt that more than 360 public and private colleges across the United States will require students to get a coronavirus vaccine, and experts expect more colleges will follow suit. But for the Indian student eyeing to study at American colleges, he faces a big conundrum, as back here in India, due to a shortage of jabs, there's a question on how students will actually get vaccinated. Following this mandate from US colleges, will Indian students now be given priority vaccination by the government? Pinarayi Vijayan will take oath as Kerala Chief Minister for the second time today. It's at 3 p.m. the grand oath-taking ceremony, which will be held at the Central Stadium, and his entire cabinet will also take oath. Pinarayi Vijayan's cabinet will feature 21 new faces, including, interestingly, his son-in-law Mohammad Riaz. KK Shailaja, ex-Kerala Health Minister, has been dropped from the cabinet. The ministers will first offer prayers at the Martyrs Column in Alapura before taking oath. The function will be held in strict adherence to COVID-19 protocol. The government said that they expect only up to 350 people to attend the function, and entry will be restricted to those with the COVID-19 negative certificate. The UDF leaders will attend the oath via virtual platform. There's no end to the controversies for Pinarayi Vijayan. On one side, you have over the decision to draft in his son-in-law in the new Kerala cabinet. The second controversy that the Chief Minister is facing over his opulent upcoming swearing-in ceremony that will see 500 people in attendance.
There's no denying his achievement. Defeating 45 years of Kerala's voting behaviour to be re-elected is no small feat. But Pinarayi Vijayan now faces twin storms of criticism. One, over his decision to draft in his son-in-law in the new Kerala cabinet. And two, over Pinarayi's opulent upcoming swearing-in ceremony that will see 500 persons in attendance. If the high-profile dropping of Shailaja teacher as health minister wasn't bad enough, the two fresh issues are definitely drawing fire at the Kerala chief minister.
It is a policy decision that no one should continue to the next cabinet, and all the ministers were not there, and it is a very good decision, and it's a chance for the freshcomers, and they are coming, and I appreciate it, and I welcome the newcomers.
Of all Indian political parties, the left has largely steered clear of nepotism charges, but a strengthened Pinarayi Vijayan has chosen to weather that storm. Son-in-law Mohammad Riaz is the Democratic Youth Federation of India chief. The son of a police officer, Riaz has risen well through the ranks. In 2020, he married Pinarayi Vijayan's daughter T. Veena. But his anointment as a minister now, within a year of that marriage, possibly for the first time in Kerala, has raised many an eyebrow.
I will do my level best. Always think about the people. Always work for the people. Always work for the comrades of LDF who had a great job in this election work.
The second wave of criticism against Pinarayi is over his scheduled swearing in on May the 20th. Despite loud calls from civil society, voters and prominent faces, the LDF government plans to hold a swearing-in with 500 attendees, totally unbefitting of COVID times and especially in a state in triple lockdown. The issue has become big enough for a writ petition to be filed against it. There is no threat to powerful Pinarayi. With his LDF staying in power in a historic and thumping election victory, he faces no trouble to his chair. But his first steps have energized his critics and even his admirers. With Gopi Krishnan Unithan in Thiruvananthapuram, Bureau Report, India Today.
With that update, we're slipping into a short break here on First Up. As always, all the top headlines of the day are up on our website, indiatoday.in. You can also download the India Today app. Thank you for watching. Have a great day ahead and stay safe.